So this is the Harley-Davidson Fat Bob, is it?
Yeah.
I always get confused between Fat Bob and Fat Boy, but this is the Fat Bob. And it's the first time I've ridden this bike, and I tell you what, I wasn't thinking I was going to like it, but it's really, really nice. As soon as I sat on it, it feels like a really nicely balanced, well-designed bike. I like the handlebars, I like the feel of it, the foot position's really nice, it's just straight away really comfortable. So I suppose they are forward controls, but it feels quite short. You've got an incredible view of the road ahead, you can't see the front wheel, and it feels really nimble, and it's a surprisingly nice bike to ride, and I really, really did like it. This has got the 114 cubic inch engine, which is about 1.8 something litres, which is massive. But on a Harley-Davidson, it's all about torque, it's all about a low end grunt, and this has got plenty of it. It's fantastic. This one's also got the aftermarket Vance Hines long shot pipes, and I tell you what, when you're riding you can really hear it, and it sounds really deep and lovely. And if I'm honest with you, my Heritage Classic's got the slip-ons, the Vance Hines Eliminator 300, and I think these sound better. They sound deeper, they sound more like a lion's roar. The Eliminator 300, although it's loud, it sounds very airy and blowy. This sounds just deep and throaty, so I really like that.
So as you said, these have got Vance & Hines long shots on them, which sound brilliant, and I think that really makes it look a lot nicer than it did stock, because the stock pipes look hideous. They're like these two massive gas canisters, and they like come up here. I'm not a fan of those. You're not either, are you?
No, I think they look ridiculous, and I've never liked this bike because of that.
Yeah.
But I was just saying literally a few seconds ago, look at that. I mean, that is a beautiful looking motorbike.
Yeah. I
would ride that. I would buy that with my own money, and I don't always say that. Oh, bloody mud! Sorry. I'm ready. Still going? Size-wise, I'm 6'3", and it feels okay. My knees aren't up in my chest. The riding position feels nice. I don't know how I look. What do you think? Does it look small on me? Does it look about the right size?
It looks just right, to be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, as I say, it feels perfectly fine. I wouldn't say it felt small. One thing I did notice riding along, the steering's got this tendency to self-centre it. It wants to stand up all the time. So trying to sort of just give it to carve around, it feels like it wants to stand up. And I would say the Heritage Classic still, I think, is the best handling softail. But this is a lot of fun, and again, everything's a little bit different, so you get used to it, and then you can sort of start to push it a bit more.
This number plate holder, or whatever you want to call it, I think that's not very good looking. If you took that off, the back end would look a lot nicer, and you'd open up that rear tyre, so it would look a lot prettier from the back. There's quite a big gap here. I don't know if I'm keen on that, but that's how the Fat Bob has always looked. So I guess that's keeping true to how it is.
I found it really easy to ride. We got straight onto the dual carriageway, and it got up to 70 miles an hour ever so quickly and ever so easily, and it felt very stable, and I didn't feel nervous at all. So it's a new bike, I haven't got on it before. No, it's fine, it's easy to ride, and I think once you've got used to it, the confidence will come, and I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with this bike. It's a beautiful bike, and like I was saying, I wasn't sure if I was going to like this one, but I think it's up there in my top 3 of the Softails for sure.
Right, so this has got the external adjuster for the rear suspension. So yours is under the seat. So it comes as standard with rear pillion foot pegs and a very small seat, which most people, especially ladies, probably be a bit scared of.
And on this, again, exactly the same as the Lowrider S, you've got the same mirrors, and when you're riding I can only see that amount of road behind me, so I have to move out of the way and move the body to be able to see behind me. So underslung mirrors would solve that problem.
Alloy wheels on this one, I think they're quite a nice shape, and they've also got this nice Harley-Davidson writing around the inside, which I think is a nice touch. Same again on the front. But these tyres are pretty nice fat tyres, as you would think for the name, Fat Bob. The bars on this one are actually quite wide. They're not, would you say they're wider than the Lowrider S bars, because they're quite narrow?
Yeah, I prefer them, to be honest.
And this is very pretty. You've got the revs there, and then your digitally it will tell you the speed. Right, so again, this model has got double disc brakes at the front and upside down forks. Front light on this one is very different to all the other Harley models, and it's not something you've seen before from Harley, so it's quite unusual. It was a bit of a controversial topic at first, but I think people have become to kind of like it.
As with all the new Softails, you've got this new side stand, and it works. It's not, the pegs don't get in the way with these.
So this has got a USB socket. I believe all Softails do, but I'm not too sure. It's just here. You lift that up, and then you've got a little USB thing, which is handy if you've got a sat nav. You can suck your sat nav onto the rev counter, and there we go. So the Vance Hines long shots. You don't see them very often. You usually see the short shots, which I would never ever buy in a million years because everyone buys them, and these sound very nice. They're just as loud, they're deep, and it's nice compared to yours where you've got the Eliminator 300s. They're very puffy and they only sound good if you open it up, I think, whereas these you've got a nice, all through the rev range, a nice sound.
So we're sort of talking about this. I see the point of that because it takes the number plate away from the nice shape of the fender, which is a beautiful fender. But what else could you do? Because if you have a side mounted plate, every time you get on and off you kick it and hurt your shins, gets in the way. This, I mean, it's a good way of getting the number plate off the bike, but I don't think there's any other option. I can't think of anything else. But obviously you've got these enormous, great big number plates in the UK, but it doesn't look too big on this bike because it's got quite a wide rear tyre, so it's sort of more balanced. But with a smaller one, You could make it look a little bit more neat and tidy if you went down a size, an inch or two.
Perhaps that is a bit too chunky up there.
Yeah, that's probably true. But you can't really see this. That's not very noticeable, is it? So you could modify that, I reckon, and make this look really pretty. I think this is a damn nice looking bike, actually.
The seats are quite nice finish, actually. This is what you'd normally expect on the side from a leather, sort of a shiny leather, and this is quite a matte leather. It's sort of a bit Alcantara-ish, but obviously it's not.
Okay, so I've got a price list here. It's not exactly up to date, but it's pretty much accurate. So we were thinking, who would buy this bike? If you're on the market for one of these, what else would you be considering? Well, this with the two-tone is £16,965 plus the cost of the exhaust. You could get a Heritage Classic in the 114 cubic inches for 19,500, 17,800, it's £2,000 more. Or while they're still doing it, the Heritage Classic 17,995 in the 107. That's a bit closer. Between the two, they're very different bikes. So I don't think you'd necessarily be the guy who said I want this or that. I don't know. Looks wise, riding wise, I would say this is closer to the FXDR. I prefer this. I would buy this. It's cheaper and I think it rides nicer. The FXDR just doesn't do it for me. Or a Breakout. Breakout in the 114 cubic inch, 18,885 in vivid black, 19,995 in the two-tone, which is the same as this. So that's 20 grand, 17, 89, £3,000 more. It's this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think this is a good bike. I honestly do. I think this is seriously worth considering if you're after a Harley-Davidson, because it feels like a Harley, but it's got this kind of modern look to it. And then with these pipes, it's lost that horrible chunky exhaust, like you said, and it's certainly a contender. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2019, and then our target is way beyond that. So this is going to be one of the best motorbike channels out there. Please like, please leave a comment, good or bad, and hope to see you on the next video.